The phantom phone call. You're walking down the street when suddenly you feel it, that little buzz, that vibration, that tiny hum of a phone call coming in. You reach for it, unlock the screen, and nothing. There is no call, no message, no notification. You check again just to be sure, but it never happened. And yet you felt it. Not faintly, not vaguely, but clearly. This is the phantom phone call or vibration glitch. If you think you're alone in this, think again. Surveys show that over 80% of smartphone users have experienced this at least once. Scientists call it phantom vibration syndrome. They believe your brain is so trained to expect notifications, so it starts misinterpreting random muscle twitches, clothing shifts, or even nerve signals as a buzz. But here's where it gets creepy. Some people report hearing their ringtone in silent rooms. Others say they get a vibration on the wrong side. Their phone is in their left pocket, but they feel it buzz in their right. That goes beyond a simple sensory mistake. It feels like reality itself is sending out ghost signals, reminders that our nervous system and the code of our perception can sometimes overlap in strange, glitchy ways. The neural lag. Now let's rewind to a glitch as old as pain itself. Picture this. You accidentally brush your hand against a hot pan, but for a split second, you only feel the touch of the surface. Then, bam, the sharp sting kicks in. That delay, that eerie moment where your body hasn't yet caught up to what just happened, is called the neural lag, or biomechanical delay. It's like your nervous system is buffering. Touch signals travel to the brain faster than pain signals because they use different nerve fibers. Thicker, myelinated ones for touch, slower, thinner ones for pain. Normally, you don't notice the lag, but when you do, it feels like a bug in your body's operating system. Imagine if a car accident worked the same way, the sound of the crash reaching your ears before you even feel the impact. In rare cases, people report this lag being extreme, several seconds between touch and pain, which only deepens the unsettling suspicion that maybe we're not wired as seamlessly as we think. The disappearing object phenomenon. You swear you left your keys on the counter. You checked 3 times, but there is nothing. Then later, they're sitting exactly where you looked, as if they were dropped into reality after the fact. This is the disappearing object phenomenon, or DOP. Entire online communities share stories of objects vanishing and reappearing in impossible ways. One woman swore her glasses disappeared for a week, only to reappear neatly folded in the center of her bed after she'd torn the house apart daily. Others describe the reverse. Items materializing out of nowhere, like a coin in a shoe they haven't worn in months. Skeptics chalk it up to memory slips. But here's the weirdest part. Sometimes multiple people are present when it happens. Whole groups insisting they looked in a spot, and nothing was there. Until, suddenly, it is. At that point, is it forgetfulness? Or a genuine error in the rendering of our world? Or maybe the universe just runs on the same code as our mothers, since they're apparently the only ones who can actually find anything. The Geographic Glitch. Now imagine this. You're driving your usual route home, and you pass by the same usual buildings, the same grocery store, the same diner, the same houses. Except today, a new building is sitting on the corner. A building you've never seen before. Later you drive back, and it's gone. This is known as the Geographic Glitch. People have reported entire streets shifting, houses appearing overnight, or landmarks vanishing without explanation. One man swore that his favorite cafe disappeared one morning, brick wall where the entrance used to be. Then he came back weeks later, and the cafe was back, same as before, and the employees inside insisting it never closed. Psychologists call it inattentional blindness. We sometimes overlook things that were always there, but if you've experienced it, you know, it's not just not noticing. It's like you stumbled into a slightly different save file of reality, where the map loaded differently. The everyone knew but me glitch. You show up at work and suddenly everyone is following a new rule. Or maybe in school, a test gets announced that supposedly everyone knew about. The worst part? They all act like it was always that way. No announcement, no change, just your reality out of sync with everyone else's. This glitch is subtle, but devastating. It makes you feel like you missed an invisible update patch. Actually, some people have reported entire office policies shifting overnight, like Casual Friday suddenly being a thing that everyone knew about except them. It's like the world rebooted overnight, and you weren't included in the memo. Skeptics say it's just miscommunication, or that your brain tuned out the moment the news was shared. Others blame social dynamics. Information spreads inside conversations, and somehow you just weren't in the loop. But the stranger explanation lingers. Maybe reality really does update itself, and every now and then, you're the one person who doesn't get the patch notes. The jumping object? Picture this. You drop a pen from your desk, then it falls. Now you expect it to be on the floor, but it's not there. You search under the desk, under the chair, but nothing. Hours later, it shows up in another room entirely, in a place it couldn't possibly have landed. That's the jumping object glitch. It's like physics broke down for a second, and the object respawned somewhere else. Parents often report toys doing this, falling in plain sight, only to vanish until they turn up days later in another part of the house. Psychologists have an explanation. Our memory plays tricks and our attention can completely miss what's right in front of us, a quirk known as inattentional blindness. It's that same ridiculous moment when you're holding something in your hand while searching the whole house for it, or tearing the place apart looking for your glasses while they're sitting on your face. Still, when the missing pen shows up in a room it never could have rolled into, even psychology feels like a thin excuse, like reality itself just skipped a frame. The prophecy dream. Dreams, however, bring glitches into an even stranger territory. Imagine dreaming of spilling coffee on your laptop. The scene is specific, the way the mug tips, and the words someone says right before. And days later it happens exactly, frame by frame. That's the precognition dream glitch. Unlike déjà vu, which is just a feeling of familiarity, these dreams are hyper-specific, down to details you couldn't have guessed. And stories of this are everywhere. Psychologists say it's selective memory. You dream so much that occasionally one dream matches reality. But the people who've had them insist they weren't vague coincidences. They were exact previews. Which raises the question, are our dreams sometimes a look ahead in the future? The scripted NPC conversation. Now imagine you're awake, talking to someone, when they feel like a dream. Their words are off, their tone is delayed, repetitive, or oddly generic, like they're following dialogue trees from a video game. This is the scripted NPC conversation glitch. You ask how they're doing, and they say good, 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 in a loop, like a stuck record. Or they give answers so generic it feels unreal. Most of us write it off as awkwardness or someone being distracted. But the way it feels in the moment is chilling, as if you caught someone whose programming wasn't fully loaded. People report this most often with strangers, cashiers, customer service workers, or even people on the street. Moments where the illusion of spontaneity breaks, and you feel like you're talking to a background character in someone else's simulation. The impossible placement. Some glitches aren't about people at all, they're about impossibility itself. Have you ever found an object in a position that simply shouldn't be possible? A marble perfectly balanced on the thin edge of a spoon. A ring standing upright on a tack. These are impossible placement glitches. One of the most famous was a fork found stuck upright into a concrete sidewalk with no cracks or holes to support it. It's as if objects sometimes spawn directly into improbable configurations, just to remind us the laws of physics are not always airtight. The Doppelgänger Glitch. Nothing chills the blood like the Doppelgänger Glitch. You're in the mall, and you see your best friend walking ahead. You call their name, but they don't respond. They turn a corner and vanish. You call your friend later, only to find they were across town all day. Or worse, you see yourself. Reports of doppelgängers stretch back centuries, once thought to be omens of death. But in glitch terms, it feels like the system accidentally loaded the same character model twice. Most of us laugh it off as lookalikes. But when the resemblance is perfect, down to clothes or actions, the effect is more than unsettling. It feels like you just caught reality duplicating files. The desync. When your internal clock breaks. Finally, there's the glitch that's not about what you see, but about when you are. You sit down for a quick rest. It feels like 5 minutes, but when you check the clock, half an hour has passed. That's the double time phenomenon. It works in reverse too, when a few minutes stretch into what feels like half an hour. Time doesn't just move fast when you're having fun, sometimes it breaks. But scarier still is the lost hour. Entire stretches of time vanish from memory. You swear you were conscious, present, doing something, but the clock disagrees. Stories of the lost hour often come from people driving, walking home, or even sitting at their desks. It's one thing to lose track of time, but it's another to feel like time deleted itself around you. If the brain is a clock, then this is a desync, a moment where your personal timeline drifted away from everyone else's. Each of these glitches is easy to brush off as coincidence, error, or forgetfulness. But the sheer volume of reports from all over the world, from people of all backgrounds, suggests something strange is happening. Every once in a while, reality seems to hiccup. And in those moments, whether it's a phantom buzz, a missing hour, or a double of yourself walking past, you get a glimpse behind the veil. You see that even the world we take for granted can surprise us in ways we don't fully understand. So, have you ever experienced any of these glitches? Or maybe you've experienced something even stranger. Share your story in the comments, I'd love to hear it. And if you enjoyed this video, give it a like, subscribe, and share it with your friends. Thanks for watching.